It says later sunburn. Okay, so let me just read this too. It says the Ethiopians are mentioned by Homer as a people dwelling in the far east and the far west, and later Greek. The name was applied chiefly to the inhabitants of Africa, south of Egypt, but also to peoples of swarthy complexion in the other parts of the world. See, so anybody that was dark, they called them Ethiopian or Ethiops. Okay? And the Israelites were dark colored, so they called us Ethiops. Alright? And since he said that, I want to bring out this point right here. This is the book, Nature Knows No Color Line, on page 49. It says, dislike for Jews was not based on race. It says, coming from the east, they were so dark that many Romans took them for Ethiopians. So when we were in Europe, they called us Ethiopians too. Alright? That was just a side note, but let's get back to the point at hand. It says, now we look up the word ether. Okay? It says from late 14th centuries, from Latin ether, the upper pure bright air, from Greek ether, upper air, from eithyn, to burn or shine. It says the base ith, well, that's ith, but it's supposed to be ith. It's just there's some things lost in the translation. It says base ith means to burn. It means to burn, and when you burn something, it becomes dark. Okay? So when you look right here, it says Adama to be red and ruddy, which is bullshit. Then it says Arab, Middle English, and all that. Then it says ith. Okay, well, what does the ith mean? It means to burn, or it means to be dark. Now, one thing about being burnt, being burnt and being dark, it was considered to be beautiful, especially in the ancient days. Okay, it says ith, to be fair and handsome. Now I'm gonna read this out of this book called African Civilization, the Introduction to African Civilization, and I'm gonna read to you about where that word Ethiopian or Ethiop come from, and I'm gonna read to you what people thought about people that were called Ethiopian or Ethiops. Okay, here it is right here. It says Introduction to African Civilization by John G. Jackson on page 65. A number of scholars, both ancient and modern, have come to the conclusion that the world's first civilization was created by a people known as Ethiopians. Now mind you, when they came into when the so-called Greeks came into Africa, and they came into the Middle East, as they call it today. When they came to Israel, they named us all as one people. They named, just like they do today. They called all the black people Ethiopians. Okay, it says the name Ethiopian we owe to the ancient Greeks. It says when the Greeks came in contact with the dusty inhabitants of Africa and Asia, where is Israel? It's in Asia. They called them the burnt faces. Okay? Says it called them the burnt faces. The Greek word for burnt was Aithios. Or this is what we word right here. Ait. Okay? It says the Greek word for burnt was Aithios. Now we just broke that down. Ait, which means to burn or to be burnt, to be burning or shining. Okay, it says the Greek word for burnt was Aithios, and the word for face was ops. So Aithios plus ops became Ethiopian. The Greek reasoned that these people developed their dark complexion because they were closer to the sun than were the fair inhabitants of Europe. Okay, now I'm going to skip down a little bit. It says Herodotus described them as the tallest, most beautiful, and long-lived of the human races. And before Herodotus, Homer, in even more flattering language, described them as the most just of men and favorites of the gods. Okay? It says the annals of all great early nations of Asia Minor are full of them. The Mosaic records allude to them frequently, but they are described as the most powerful and most just and most beautiful of the human race. Okay, so this word "ait" is synonymous. It also means beautiful, which the word "ruddy," when you go into not ruddy, the word "adama," when you go into Hebrew, is also likened to the word handsome or beautiful. Okay, and I'm showing you the word "ad" means to be burnt, to be shining, or to be burnt, which means a dark color. Now in this scripture, in this scripture, Lamentations 4:7 is symbolic. So the symbolic use of this word would be to be handsome, okay, to be beautiful. Okay. All right. So the next word we got to deal with, since we found out that the word "ruddy" means beautiful or handsome, next word we got to deal with is rubies. Okay. So let's go down. Let's see what the rubies is in the Hebrew. Okay, it says embodied in rubies. Right there, H6443. Okay, so let's deal with this word now. All right, it's H6443. Okay, what is that word? That word is panayayan. Panayayan. Okay, in the Hebrew. And what does it mean? It means a precious stone, but perhaps coals, rubies, or jewels. But it means a precious stone. Okay, it doesn't mean rubies. It means a precious stone or jewel. Okay. I see it says number one, a stone of any kind, whether rough or polished, very large or very small. Collect stones. Use of the foundation stone of a house. Okay, of vessels, of stone, but of rare occurrence, ait. Okay, goes back to dark again. It says, and he became a stone, stiff as a stone, a stony. Okay, used also of a bold and interpret mind. Okay, so that word means a stone, man. And in this verse, it means a precious stone, like a jewel. It doesn't mean a ruby. You know, it don't mean, okay, well that's in the Hebrew panayayan. That's what they call rubies. No, it just means a precious stone. Okay, you know, see the white man, see the fucking devil once again. He came in, he changed the words, and he gonna have you believe that that means rubies. No, it just means a precious stone. Okay, so the next word we got to deal with, since we found out they were more ruddy, means they were more beautiful in body than precious stones, because rubies, that word doesn't mean rubies, it means precious stone. Now, it says their polishing was of sapphire. Okay, now just to let you know real quick, a sapphire is blue. Okay, sapphires are not red. So if we read the scripture as her Nazarites were purer than snow, they were whiter in milk, they were more whiter in milk than milk, they were more ruddy in body than rubies, their polishing was of sapphire, then that makes no sense. Because a person cannot be red, okay, in body. First they're white, then they're red, then they got a blue polish. They got a blue tint to them. That means that person would be purple. And there's no purple people walking around the earth. So obviously this is symbolic, and obviously the white man has come in and changed the words. So we broke it down. It should read, her Nazarites were purer than snow, they were whiter they were whiter than milk, referring to their righteousness. They were more beautiful in body than ruby. They were more beautiful in body than jewels. Their polishing was of sapphire. So we're going to break down what this sapphire is. So let's go to the Hebrew. So it says sapphire. Their polishing was of sapphire. H5601.